Good morning, everyone. How are you? We're going to give just a second for everyone to come in. Hello, hello, hello. All right, give just a second for everyone to come in. I hope you all are doing amazing on this beautiful Monday morning. So thank you all for popping in. I so appreciate it. For those of you who might be catching us on the replay on Periscope, thank you so much for coming in and checking us out. Whether you are replay or live, don't forget, those hearts do work. So if you feel that I am sharing something that is valuable, if you are getting something useful out of that content, then just go ahead and give a tap to the screen. Thank you so much for those hearts already. Those hearts also let me know that you are here, that I have someone to talk to, that you are appreciating my time here with you. So I just so appreciate being able to see those hearts. For those of you joining us on YouTube, thank you so much for coming and checking us out as well. And if you would ever like to be a part of our live broadcast, please know that you can do so by coming on over to the Periscope app. Find me at Buffy Hood. You can follow me and you will receive notifications when I am live. Okay? All right. So for those of you joining us here today who think we're going to be talking a little bit about our why and why it's so important to have that. So if you know anybody that you think might be able to appreciate this, go ahead and share this broadcast out with them. You can do so by either swiping up, swiping over, depending on your device, or you can also just click the little Perry man down there in the corner, and that will allow you to share broadcast, and you can choose to either share with all followers, or you can choose to share with a select few. Totally up to you. So for those of you who may have invited your followers, thank you so much for doing that. I'd also like to give a quick shout out to anyone who might be joining us here today that is new for the very first time live, or perhaps you've just never introduced yourself yet. Go ahead and put a 1 in the box along with your first name so that I can welcome you properly. Do we have anyone new today? Anyone new? All right. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get right on into this. So, my very first question is, how many of you, by show of 2 in the box, how many of you know your why and you think about it daily? How many of you know your why and think about it daily? Put a 2 in the box. Okay, awesome. Wonderful. Okay, now here's a question for you. How many of you base your actions each day off of that why? Meaning that your why gets you up and gets you moving regardless of whether or not you feel like it or not. Okay? So and let's be very honest here, because I know all of us are going to want to put a 1, but put a 1 in the box if your why actually does drive you and makes you do it even when you don't feel like it. Okay? I see most of the time, more and more lately. That's awesome. Okay. So here's the biggest thing. Some people, when they first come into a business and they start doing something, they have a why initially. Okay? But then what happens is they don't reevaluate and they don't change that why over time. So let's say, if as an example, maybe for some, as was with me, okay, that's awesome. Okay, here's what it was for me. When I first came in, we needed the money. There was no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Some of you know our story. We were going paycheck to Wednesday. So needless to say, we needed the income. There was no ifs, ands, or buts. Okay. But I also needed something that was going to allow me to be there for my kids, for class trips, for field trips, for class parties, for award ceremonies, for whatever. Okay. Also to get them back and forth to school, as we had some issues with the buses when we first moved to this area. So needless to say, for me, that was my why. My why was we needed additional money, and I needed to make sure that I was able to be there for my kids when they needed me. Okay. Now, fast forward about a year and a half from when I first started doing the business. Uh, well, maybe 2 years. We'll say 2 years. Okay. Our financial situation had changed dramatically, not only because of Premier, but because of my husband's job change. And finances weren't really so much the issue as much anymore. I mean, they still were, but not nearly as tight as what we used to be, if that makes sense. And even for me at that time, I was homeschooling my girls, so I was with them all the time. Okay, so my why changed then, because then my why changed to I need to get out of the house and go have some fun occasionally and go do different things and be with adults and that sort of thing. So my why had changed a little bit. While we still needed the financial end, I really wanted to be out spending time with other adult women. Okay. So my why kind of changed a little bit. And then fast forward, I don't know, maybe another year or two later, my husband decided to start working the business with me. Okay, so I'm going to say maybe 2 years because I think he's been helping out now a lot for the last 4 or 5. Okay, so we're going to say it was another 2 years later. Things had changed again in terms of my why, because then my why became to get us out of financial debt. Okay, it wasn't just to have the extra money each week so that we weren't going paycheck to Wednesday. It was now those funds were going to be used toward getting us paid down in our financial debt. And for the last 6 months to a year, our goal has been that within 5 years, we would like to make sure that my husband is able to do this business with me full time. So again, my why had changed. Okay. And it is so important for us to make sure that we are looking at those whys, because when I first came in, it was strictly money and for me to be there for my kids. Our why is now Premier is our ministry. And therefore, David and I want to be able to do this together full time so that we can use this as both our ministry, but also as our full-time income for the both of us. Okay. So there's been a drastic change between I want an extra $200 a month to now this would, hopefully, God willing, replace both of our incomes, within the 5-year period, because we would have had an opportunity to pay down some debts and make it that we don't need as much and that kind of thing, that we can live off of less. Okay. So when you really look at things, you want to make sure that you are reevaluating that why on a regular basis, because the reason that you originally came into your business may not be the same reason that you are still in it today, and may not be the same reason that you want to be in it tomorrow. Okay, does this make sense? I sure hope so, because to me it does. All right, so I highly recommend that you are constantly reevaluating your why. All right, and we're talking at least probably every 6 months, reevaluate what you need to get out of your business or what you hope to get out of your business. Okay, and you want to be very specific. Don't just say, well, I need extra money. Okay, well, how much extra money? Okay, or I want to be able to be there for my kids. Okay, well, what does that look like to you? What does that mean? For me, it was to be there for the class parties, to do the field trips, to be able to pick them up and drop them off and all that kind of stuff. That was what it meant to me. It meant that if my kids needed to call me at the drop of a dime, or one of them was sick, that I could go and I didn't have to worry about asking anybody's permission. Okay, those were the kind of things. Or if my daughter was having a rough day and needed me to just go have lunch with her that day, then I wanted to be able to do those things. Okay, so that was the type of thing that it meant to me. So when you think about your why, I want you to be very, very specific in terms of not only what you hope to achieve or what you hope to get, or or what you want to see come out of your business, but even down to what will it mean to you and your family for you to achieve those things and do those things. Okay. So real quick, what I'd like to do is I would like each of you to share with me your why. Tell me why you originally came into the business that you're in, whether you're in Premier or whether you're in a different direct sales business. But tell me why you came into your business, and has that why changed? Okay, so we'll start there because I know you guys are limited to the number of characters that you can put in the comment box. So tell me first why you originally came in to your business, and has it changed? Okay, vacation fund, and no, it hasn't changed. Okay. All right, anyone else? To earn $500 a month, and yes, it has changed. Okay, originally to pay down debt, hasn't changed. All right. Okay, anyone else? Okay, all right, so now the next thing I want to ask is for those of you who have done that, to spread hope to others and share the love of Jesus. Ministry hasn't changed. Okay, all right, so now the next question is, of those of you who answered, okay, or even if you didn't answer and you just know, all right, close to retirement, wanted to find something to stay active and earn money, job loss for your husband. Okay, all right, so the next question is, what would it mean to you and your family for those goals to be achieved? What would it mean to you and your family for those goals to be achieved? So whether it's each month, whether it's, I mean, if it's something that it's a monthly thing that has to be reached, or if it's a, paying off a debt, things like that. Okay, so I saw freedom. Anything else? What would it mean to you and your family for those whys to be reached? Okay, we have excited, satisfaction, awesome. Okay, all right. Now, this next question might be a little more tricky. Okay, God-given purpose fulfilled, awesome, enjoy life, wonderful, stay home with the kids, okay, pay off debt, and full-time in Premier, wonderful. Okay, all right. Now that we're thinking about those, tell me, stay-at-home grandma, I love that. All right, tell me, the next thing is let me think about the best way to word this. Okay, so you know your why. You know what it would mean to you and your family. Do you know how to get there? Do you know how to get there? And let's see what we get here. So you know your why. You know what it would mean for you and your family. Do you know how to get there? Well, girl, then I will do my best to try to help you out, right? Okay. All right. Anyone else? Do you know how to get there? Mostly. Okay. Learning this year with your Premier leaders. Wonderful. Yes. Working your business. Yes. It isn't easy, but doable. Absolutely. Okay. All right. So it sounds like most of you know how to get there. We have a select few. Show sponsor, help your downline be successful. You know what to do, not always how. Okay. Okay. So many of you know what steps need to be done. You know how to get there, or you know what you need to do to get there. Okay. But how many of you are doing what it takes to get there? And to the best of your ability. I don't mean just putting in like half effort. I'm talking how many of you are doing what it takes to get there and giving it 110% of yourself, okay, to go for what it is that you truly want. Okay, I see a not really. Anyone else? And this might be a time to be brutally honest with yourself. Okay, this year, yes. Okay. Anyone else? How many of you are doing? You're at 99. Love it. Okay. All right. So here's the thing. And this is going to sound kind of strange perhaps, okay? But for those of you who said you're not really doing what you know you need to do to get there, okay? Then here's what I would propose. The thing that you're going for, you don't quite want it bad enough yet. Okay? You don't quite want it bad enough yet. And it could be because you are currently somewhat comfortable with where you're at. It's not kind of an urgency thing that you have to do this, okay? Or that you have to get out there and make it happen like as quickly as possible, and things like that. It could be because you haven't given yourself a deadline of when you want these things to be done, okay? It could be that your fears are greater than your desire to make this happen. Okay? Don't feel like you are where you should be, maybe. Okay? All right? So for some, it's believing in yourself. Now, Jenny, I'm going to challenge you on this one. Okay? And there's good reason for this. Okay? I'm going to challenge you on this one because we need to remember that we're not doing this all by ourselves. Okay? That yes, not only do we have our upline to go to be able to assist us, all right? However, we also have something even bigger for those of us who are believers, because we also have our Lord and Savior who is with us every single step of the way. And when we feel like we can't do it, that's where we have to leave it to Him, where we do the actions and we have faith that God will give us not only the courage, but give us the wisdom necessary, give us the words necessary, give us the actions to be able to know how to go about doing this, okay? Sometimes we have to just take that leap of faith and say, you know what? I don't know if this is going to happen exactly the way that I hope it does, but I need to do something, okay? Yes, this business will absolutely, the Premier Designs business will strengthen anybody's faith. Yes, absolutely. And here's the thing, okay? We must always remember that even when we can't, He can. So if it's His will and we're at least performing the actions, He has something to bless. He has something that He can come in and show up and show off, okay? But if we are allowing our fears to prevent us from doing anything, He has nothing. There's nothing that He can do, okay? Because He's not going to just miraculously change your business if you're not doing anything, if you're not putting forth any effort, if you're allowing fears and such to hold you back. That is not providing Him the faith to say, you know what, I trust in you. I trust that you're going to be able to help me get this done, okay? So here's what I would challenge you to do. For each of you who have shared your why, shared that, you know how to get there, but just perhaps you're not yet doing it all the way. You haven't yet put forth all of your effort. Figure out why you haven't put that effort there. Okay, so now this is a different why. Now this is a why do you prevent yourself from going for what it is that you say you want? Okay, so first thing you got to do is you need to ask yourself, do you really want what it is that you're going for? Okay, well, here's the thing. When you're scared that you can't, the only surefire way to make sure you fail is to not to even try. Okay, but if you try and it doesn't work that way, you try a different way. And if it doesn't work that way, you try a different way. If it doesn't work, in order to be successful, you have to have learned how to fail 1,000 times or more in order to figure out the best way to do it. Okay, so you don't want to get in the habit of saying, well, I'm afraid I can't, so I just won't do anything. You don't want to do that, because then you never will do anything. I mean, that's just how it is. That's just the law of nature. I mean, it's there is no effect if there's no cause to initially get that going. Um, yes, yes, absolutely, absolutely, Jenny. Okay, so when you do nothing, nothing happens. All right, if you do nothing, nothing changes. I mean, that's just how it goes. Okay, so the first thing that I want you to do is to look at your why and decide, is this what you really want? And if you think it is, then you need to get very specific. You want to be able to not only visualize yourself in that different place, so visualize yourself debt free. Okay, if your goal is to pay off debt, visualize what that would look like for you. Visualize the difference in the amount of income that you would need if you were living debt free. Okay, visualize the things that you would be able to do, the things that you would be able to accomplish if you were debt free. Visualize the stress that would be taken from you if you were stressed, or if you were debt free. Okay, so you want to get very specific on that. If your goal is to be able to stay at home with your kids, okay, don't just say to stay home with your kids. Visualize what it would be like for you to be able to wake up with your children every morning and not be rushed for you to have to get out of the house. Visualize what it would be like to be able to just go to the park with them during the day, or to do whatever it is that you want to be home with your kids for. Maybe for some of you, I don't know, maybe your goal is what mine was to stay home with my kids, yes, but to also homeschool my kids, because I wanted to make sure that they were receiving a education at their own pace. Okay, because I have one who is off the charts one way. I have another one who needs a little bit more help in some different areas, but once she gets it, she gets it. Okay, so you have to, for me, that's what it was. But you need to look at that and say, why do I want to stay home with my kids? And what are the differences that would bring to our family dynamic if I were able to do that? If I were able to do that today, what would I do? Okay. So you really want to break that down and then say, okay, in order for this to happen, that means I need X amount of dollars. So for the one who it was a vacation fund, okay, don't just say it's for a vacation fund. You might want to break that down even more so and say, okay, now let's determine, where is it that we want to go on our next vacation? And exactly how much money is it that we're going to need to make sure that not only are we able to have that vacation, but we are able to have the vacation that we want, meaning to the degree that we want. Have y'all ever gone on vacation and been vacation broke, where it's like, look, we can afford the hotel and we can afford the food, but there's not a whole lot extra that we can do? Okay, so maybe that's not the kind of vacation you want to take. Maybe the vacation you want to take is one where you can literally plan out things that you want to do that can be paid for before you ever even set foot on that plane, on that boat, on that whatever, okay? And you want to know that you're going to have X amount of extra dollars that you can spend on whatever, because you always get there and find additional things that you're going, man, if I would have known that they had this, we would have saved extra money, blah, 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 whatever, okay? So maybe your goal is to say, okay, I want to take this vacation, and I know at bare minimum, we're going to need, let's say, $3,000, okay? But because I don't want to be cut short of anything, and I want to make sure that we can experience this full thing in its entirety, we want to make sure we have 5,000, okay? Or whatever your amount is, okay? And then figure out, break it down and say, okay, for me to stay home with my kids, or for me to take the vacation that we want, or for me to be able to be debt free, this is the amount of money that I need to have per month or per week. And then you're going to figure out how many shows per month or per week you need to be doing in order to get that. Okay. So here's the thing. And Tammy, that's why I wanted to kind of do this, because for some people, they have a tough time seeing past tomorrow, or they have a tough time seeing past next month. All right. And it can be tough for people to do that, to dream, because many of us, especially depending on what kind of upbringing we had, you may have been told not to dream. There's no sense dreaming. It's a waste of time. It's a pipe dream. It's something that'll never happen. Okay. Listen, we can absolutely make our dreams come true. All right. We absolutely can, because they don't have to be dreams. They can be our lifestyle if we are, for one, following Christ and we are doing what we're supposed to be doing there. Okay. And then we are having faith that He is going to bless our efforts because we are doing right by Him and by everyone else that we come into contact with throughout our business. Then guess what? He's going to bless your efforts. Now, look, don't get this twisted, because if you do things the wrong way, okay, you were told you had to keep your feet on the ground. Exactly. Okay. There's a lot of people who were raised that way. All right. But it doesn't mean you have to stay that way. You absolutely can learn how to dream again. All right. But it starts with starting with a small little point and then breaking that down even smaller and even smaller and even smaller to where you can kind of pinpoint everything. Okay. So just because you were told not to dream in your younger years doesn't mean you can't learn how to dream now. It just means you need to find the way that works for you. All right. So Tammy, you specifically, let me talk to you for just a moment. Okay. So tell me again what your why was. Tell me again what your why was. We're going to see if we can help you out with this a little bit. And for the rest of you here, this is going to benefit you too. So please don't think that I am alienating you from the conversation here. I'm hoping that everyone will get something out of this part. Okay, so Tammy, tell me again what your why is, like what your goal is. Full-time premier. Okay, so here's what I want you to do. I want you to not only just say full-time premier. I want you to come to a understanding of why you want to do premier full-time. Okay, not just that you want to do it, but why. Why do you want to do premier full-time? What would change in your family dynamics in order for you, like if you had that ability? If you had the ability to be full-time premier, what would change in your family dynamic for that to be a possibility? Okay, so your boss is not a good leader. Okay. Can I challenge you on something? Okay, if your boss is not a good leader, that means that you're going to want to be the best leader that you've ever had. And to be a good leader, you're going to need to learn how to dream, how to sit down and basically create a strategy to reach for things. Because my guess is, in order for you to not be dealing with your boss, that means that you need to do premier full time because you need a specific income amount. Would that be correct? Is it that you would need a specific income amount in order to be able to release yourself from that boss? Okay, so you need $1,200 a month. All right, so basically what you're talking about is about 6 shows per month is basically what you're looking at. All right, wait. Okay, so if you need $1,200 a month, then your goal would be approximately 6 shows per month is what would need to hold, which means you would want to schedule at least 8. Okay. Now, of course, building your premier family and things like that is going to allow you some additional residual income to be coming in each month, but that's not a guarantee necessarily, because you never know what those new jewelers coming in are going to do. Okay. Now you will find some workers. You will find those little worker bees that they have high hopes and high dreams and they get out and do. Okay. But yes, so you don't necessarily need to double up. You just need to schedule at least 2 more than what you would typically need. Okay. Usually that's kind of the rule of thumb. Now you may find, over time, you might see that when you schedule 8, maybe only 5 of them hold. okay, on average each month, well, then you're going to want to schedule 9. So it might take you a couple months to be able to figure out what your average retention rate is of those shows. All right. You may have some months where all 8 of them are going to hold, and you're now going to have a little bit of a cushion ready for the next month in case some of them don't. Does this make sense? Okay. But you're going to have some months where you might make that 1,200 in just 3 shows, and you still have 3 more shows left. All right. So every month is going to be a little bit different, but the key for you is going to be to kind of break that down and say, okay, each given month I need $1,200. So if I make $1,600 this month, then 400 of that needs to be set back for the next month. Okay. So as of now, if you do not currently need those funds for living expenses, then I would recommend everything that you make, you are using that to pay down debt, because guess what? The more debt that you have paid off, the less income you would need each week. Okay? So the closer you get yourself to being debt-free, the less you're going to have to deal with in terms of what you need for living expenses each week or each month. Okay? Does that make sense? Because, ideally, obviously, you would want to get it to a point where the only expenses you would have would be your utilities or your mortgage, that kind of thing. And of course, the goal is even with a mortgage to get that paid off. All right. But you want to make sure that, if you think about it, okay, let's just say, I don't know what your finances are, but let's just say each month you have $800 that is currently being paid out through credit cards or through frivolous spending or through whatever. Okay. If you no longer had that $600 to $800 per month that you were having to spend toward credit cards or loans or whatever, that's $600 to $800 less per month that you would need to have in order to replace your income. I hope this is making sense. It's a little early and I still haven't yet had my coffee, so I hope it's making sense, because to me it does. All right. So there again, so you want to break down that why even more to say it's not just that I want to be full-time premier. It's that I want to get this debt paid off so that I can afford to comfortably be full-time with Premier. And I'm not, and I'm going to be able to not have as much debt coming out of my pocket each and every month, that I'm going to be able to have more money staying within our family. So then you kind of break that down and say, okay, if I need $1,200 a month to replace my income, then I need a minimum 6 shows held and a minimum 8 shows scheduled. Okay, so that's basically 2 per week. When you break it down, you're talking 2 shows per week. Do you think you can schedule 2 shows per week? Tammy? Make sure you know I'm still talking to you directly. Okay, and when you look at it as 2 shows per week, that doesn't seem as scary as 8 per month, perhaps. Okay, so you really kind of want to look at that and say, okay, I need to make sure that I'm, and whether there again, I don't know what your show dates offered are. So meaning, if you offer Friday and Saturday, or if you offer Thursday and Sunday, okay, whatever your days are, all right, that you would be aware and busily working toward making sure that each week that those 2 are filled. So meaning when someone comes to you and says that, yeah, they'll schedule a show, and maybe it was through, your booking activity at your game or at your show rather, or maybe you talk to someone at a event, whatever. Okay, so you offer Tuesdays, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. Okay. So here's what I would say. All right. Anytime that someone is wanting to schedule a show with you, or that they have agreed to schedule a show with you, for you to be able to say, tell me what works best for you, a weekend or a weekday. And if they say a weekday, then the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to offer your weekday, your closest weekdays. So meaning if, let's say it's currently the 11th of July, and your first available happens to be the 16th of July, then that's what you offer. And you say, well, I happen to have this Saturday available. Would that date work for you? And if she goes, oh, no, that's too soon. Okay, no problem. And you go to the very next Saturday that you have, or you go to the very next whatever, okay? Don't ever lead off with, tell me what month you were thinking. No. If you say, tell me what month you were thinking, she's going to go, well, how about like November? Because people are going to be wanting to do Christmas shopping and that kind of thing. And that's great that then you have a show scheduled for November, but that does nothing for you for this month, okay? Or for next month, all right? And the sooner that you get those shows on your calendar, the sooner opportunities you have of getting more shows from those shows. And those could be the ones that fill your September and then your October and then your November. Okay. So that's what you want to try to shoot for. You want to say what works best for you, a weekend or a weekday. If she says a weekend, you're going to say, okay, I offer Saturdays and Sundays. Is there one that seems less hectic for you? Okay. You don't want to say what do you have free, or when do you have free time? Because most people don't have free time. So if you say, which day is typically less hectic for you? And she might say, well, probably Saturdays. Okay, no problem. I offer Saturdays at 11 a.m. or 4 p.m. Is there a time that would typically work best for you? She might go, my friends are a little, well, they don't really get up early on Saturdays, so probably the 4 p.m. Okay, no problem. And you open your calendar and you go to the very first Saturday at 4 p.m. and you say, this is the first day that I have available. Would that day work for you? And if she says, well, I'm not sure because little Johnny has, blah, blah, no problem. The very next one that I have is this date. Would that date work for you? Okay. And you just work it that way. All right. You're going to find that makes a huge difference in how your calendar is lining up. Okay. Because you are more in control, but at the same time, you are offering her options. Okay. So you're giving her an option to each time. Okay. Yes. So you want to make sure that you're saying, weekday or weekend. Okay, I have this or this, which would work best for you. Okay, I offer this time or this time, which would work best for you. And that way to her, she's like in total control here. But really, you are controlling your calendar. Okay. Hey, Justin. Look, I love that you popped in. Look, I must have gone really late or you finished up really early. Love that. Guys, okay, real quick, Justin, throw up some more emojis for me there. If you guys are not following Justin, please go do so. He offers some phenomenal business advice. Okay. He is amazing. In fact, I struggled with changing my time to 8 a.m. because that's when Justin does his. So it always worries me when Justin does his time at the same time as me, because then I don't get a chance to be live with him. So I'm so glad you came in. That's awesome. I don't often have Justin here, so yay. All right. So I appreciate you too, Justin. Thank you so very much. So yeah, so basically, Justin, I'd love for you to come back and catch the replay, just to, kind of see what we were talking about here. But basically, we were talking about the reason why it's so important for us to have a why, okay, for why we do what we do, and then also to look at why we are not doing what we know we should be doing, okay? So I would absolutely love that. And thank you so much for those of you popping in because Justin sent out an invite there. Thank you for that. And I will do a quick reset just to let everybody know who may be coming in or might catch us on the replay then. For those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Buffy Hood. I'm a jeweler with Premier Designs Jewelry. They are a direct sales company, but we consider them to be a direct service company as our focus is on people, not on profits. So basically, I enjoy coming on here, getting a chance to be able to share my experiences, things that I've gone through, things that I struggle with that I am assuming that some other people might be struggling with, and give ideas and advice on how I got through it, or what it is that I am doing in my own business. So thank you guys so much for those hearts. I so appreciate that. So needless to say, Tammy, back to you real quick. So needless to say, you really want to make sure that you're kind of breaking those down. You want to break down that why. You want to break down the what is that going to do for you, okay? And for those of you who have trouble dreaming, you might want to try doing kind of a vision board type thing, because here's what can happen. If you have a hard time visualizing something in your own head, it can help if you see a picture of something and you go, you know what, that's what I want. That's what I would like to see. So, whether it's those vacations or whether it's, you being home with your kids. So maybe you see a picture of, a mom snuggling with her kid, just reading a book, and maybe that's what you want. Okay. Your scope on putting percentage of your show towards bills. Yes. Yeah. And I'm glad that was helpful for you, because that absolutely does make a big difference. It truly does, to be able to kind of break that down and know exactly where your money is going. Yes, absolutely. Helpful to determine how many shows. Yes. Okay. And that's just it. So if you have trouble dreaming, then creating yourself that vision board may be a huge thing for you. All right. Yeah. And here's the thing. We were also talking about that. It's so important to look at your why, because here's the thing. Everybody's life changes every 6 months. Okay. If you were to look at your life now from where it was 6 months ago, chances are you've had some changes. You've had some things that have come along that may have just kind of thrown a monkey wrench in there, and you had to rework some things, or maybe finances changed, or whatever. So you want to make sure that every 6 months you're looking at things and going, okay, is this still my why? Or has my why changed? Is this still my why? Or has, maybe the why is still the same, but what you need to get there has changed. Does that make sense? Okay. So if your why is to be debt free, well, as you pay down debts, you're not going to need as much money to get those debts paid down. I hope that makes sense. All right. So you just want to make sure that you are continuously looking at those things and reevaluating what you need to do now. Do you know if libraries give away old magazines for Dreamboard? You know what? I don't know whether or not they do. But you know what? I really do need to eat, so that's okay. That's all right. Maybe I do need to eat. But anyway, I'm not sure if libraries do, but I do know one place that you can check. Okay. And this might sound strange, but your dentist office, your doctor's office, anywhere that has waiting areas. All right. Feel free to stop in and say, when you are ready to unload your magazines, would you be willing to call me instead of throwing them away? Okay. And then you can go get those magazines from them. All right. Many of them would be more than okay to do that. Yes. And leave a catalog of your own while you're there. Okay. But absolutely check in with your doctors, with your dentist, with whoever, anywhere that you ever go and there are magazines there. Just say to them that you have some projects that you do with magazines. Would they be able to contact you to let you know when they're ready to change those out. And oh, by the way, would it be okay for you to replace one of those magazines with one of your very own catalogs? All right. So here, because they're always looking for magazines, they don't want to have to buy magazine subscriptions. So most of those places, if you go into them, you're so very welcome, Tammy. So most of those, if you go into them and you ask if you can leave a catalog, they're going to be fine with that because they don't have to pay for a subscription to get it there. All right. And those magazines are not something that, those catalogs are something that for those of us in Premiere, they only change once a year. So as far as the big ones, so you could go leave that there and it is still going to be something that people can shop from. It wouldn't have expired until the next July. So are you kidding? Like, absolutely. All right. Now, I've held you guys up here long enough, but I do want to offer a moment for some quick questions. Does anybody have any questions? And remember, if you do have a question, just put a 1 in the box for me first, so then that way I know that there is a question coming. If you do not have a question coming, then I will be able to let you all scooch. Your gym has allowed you to put up a display of catalogs. That is awesome. That is awesome. Thank you so much, Justin. You have an awesome day, too. I do hope that you will check out the replay and just let me know your thoughts. Let me know your thoughts. All right. Anyone else have any questions? Put a 1 in the box. Thanks so much, Justin. Anyone have a question? Put a 1 in the box. Otherwise, I'm going to let y'all go. I've kept you on here about 13 minutes longer than usual. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Yes. So don't forget, for those of you going to rally this week, don't forget Friday, immediately following your lunch. Awesome. Thank you. Would love to see you back. So immediately following lunch, Friday at rally, we will be meeting at the Water Gardens. So where the actual sign is for the Water Gardens, that's where we're going to meet. So as soon as you finish eating, pop on out to the Water Gardens so I get a chance to meet you guys. I would love that. All right. Well, it doesn't look like we have any questions, so I'm going to let you guys go. And I just look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Tomorrow is Tuesday, and that will be our last official. Oh, that would be awesome. That would be awesome. Yes, the Water Gardens are literally right outside of the Omni. So, yes, that would be great if you could pop over. And if not, for those of you who are unable because you're going to be doing senior leader lunches and things like that, if that's the hang up, then don't worry because I can tell you that I believe it's going to be section 317 that I'm in. I'm in the Googe section at the convention center, and we typically sit all the way up top. We sit like up in the nosebleeds. Like we're usually, anyone who's familiar with the convention center, you know that they go, the rows go A through Z up in the upper level. We're usually around X is usually the row that we take because it's up nice and high, and we have a good view. So, yeah, so we are up there. So you will definitely get your workout in if you want to come check me out. Okay, Jennifer, then I will just have to watch for the scooter. And I'll be checking name tags. Are you Jennifer? Are you Jennifer? All right. So, yeah. But hopefully I will get a chance to catch up with all of you guys. I would absolutely love that. Would love, love, love that. But we will be here tomorrow for our Truth Be Told Tuesday. Oh, you'll be in 316, or are you saying that's the one that I'm supposed to be in and I just have it goofed? Last year we were 317, so I was thinking it was the same one, but maybe not. Oh, that's where you're at. Oh, look, you'll be in the section right next to me. So that is awesome. So, yeah, so hopefully, yes. So hopefully I will get a chance to catch up with all you guys. And tomorrow, hopefully I will be here. I do know I'm going to be like busting my butt trying to get some things ready for rally. So I will do my best to be here tomorrow at 8 a.m. And if I am able to be here, that will be our last scheduled one for this week. Doesn't mean that it's the last time that I will be on this week. It just means that will be the last scheduled one. So I need to check my data and see where we're at with things, because we only have a couple more days left in our billing cycle. And the new billing cycle doesn't start until either the 16th or the 17th, which is when we'd be coming home. So I need to take a look and see where I'm at on my data. But I will be doing my best to try and stay in touch with you guys, even while I'm out there through Periscope and that kind of thing. So I just look forward to being able to catch up with you. I'm going to say that, as I said, I'm going to try to be here tomorrow. We'll see. Okay. So if not, then I'm going to be trying to catch you guys at Rally. That's awesome that you're packed. I'm doing laundry today so I can get packed, but I also need to go to the bank and have a show I got to close out and all other kinds of crazy things before I leave. So yes, so we will see. But I'm going to bid you guys farewell. Thank you so much for popping back in and just spending some time with me today. And I look forward to seeing you guys soon. Have a great day. Bye-bye.